For our butternut squash soup today, we're going to need 1 medium yellow onion chopped, 2 carrots chopped, 2 celery stalks chopped, 1 red bell pepper diced, 1 Macintosh apple diced. You can also use a Granny Smith apple here. Some tart is required, so one or the other. 1 butternut squash cubed, approximately 1 inches around. But 1 teaspoon of ginger garlic paste. For our spices, we're going to need 1.5 teaspoons of garam masala, 1 teaspoon of smoked paprika, half a teaspoon of chili powder, 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper. Chili and black can be adjusted to your taste. 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg, 3/4 to 1 teaspoon of haldi. This is going to give our soup a really nice warm color, so you can adjust it again a bit more or less to your taste. And salt to taste. We're also going to need some vegetable broth as a base for our soup and whipping cream to finish with. To start the cooking process, we're going to heat about 1 to 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil to our Instant Pot, which is currently on the saute function. We'd like to use a neutral oil here that isn't going to lend a lot of heavy flavor to our soup, so grapeseed or canola oil are preferable. We're just going to allow the oil to heat up nicely in the Instant Pot before we add our onions to begin with. To get a sense of the heat, I place my hand just above the oil to see if I can feel the heat radiating up, and I can. So it's a good starting point for us to get started. I'm going to slowly add the chopped onions, and always try to do it away from yourself to avoid splattering hot oil. And we're just going to slowly stir the onions with the oil and get the whole sauteing process started. Now, if your onions are kind of stuck a little bit clumped together, don't worry. As they heat up, they will slowly loosen up and you'll get all your little bits. Also, you don't have to be perfect with your chopping ability with this soup because everything is going to be blended down later on in the recipe. You just want to get the flavors to come out. We're just gonna stir it and make sure that we get good even heating all around with the onions. And if you see some little spots where it's really clumped up, just break them down as best as possible. I'm going to saute the onions for a good 1 to 2 minutes. We would want it to be a nice translucent color. We're not looking to char it too much or brown it as much as just to increase the sweetness of the onions. The onions are starting to look that nice translucent color that we're looking for. So pretty soon we're going to add our ginger garlic paste. Another quick stir just before we add the ginger garlic. And in goes 1 teaspoon of ginger garlic paste. You don't want to overwhelm the flavor of the soup with a lot of ginger or garlic. You just want it to be kind of in the background of your soup. So I find 1 teaspoon works well. Just going to combine it in and let it really mix into the onions. And we're going to start with adding our celery and carrots to the pot. Celery is one of those vegetables where you don't think it has a lot of flavor, but it actually lends a really beautiful tone to soups, especially. So you'll find most soups will have some sort of celery, either seed involved or celery stalks. Let's get every last little bit of those vegetables in. And we're going to mix them all in together. Just want to coat it nicely with a little bit of that oil. Give it about 30 seconds to a minute to kind of cook down a little so that it can start to release their flavors. And occasionally give it a little bit of a stir. If you start to notice that your ginger garlic is sticking to the bottom of your pan, don't worry. When we add our vegetable broth, it's going to just release all of that from the bottom. And next, we're going to add our red bell peppers to the mix. And once you get every last little bit of that, we're going to again just mix it all in together. Our next vegetable that we're going to be adding in is going to be our butternut squash itself. After we mix it in. And in it goes. Such a beautiful vegetable. Lends so much color to the pot. And we're just going to kind of thoroughly mix it in, just kind of rotating through, getting them all combined as best as possible. And last but not least, in goes the apple. Find the apple, it's nice to put it right at the end because it's going to take the least amount of time to actually cook through when we're cooking the soup. So again, just mixing everything together, giving it one last nice little stir. And we're going to add our vegetable broth next. So that's approximately 900 ml in one container. Now you can use just the one container and add another 2 cups of water. I prefer the vegetable broth base, so I added 1.5 containers. So another approximately 500 ml coming up right there. And I just like to fill it up right to about the point where it's starting to just creep up and you can see it through the vegetables. Okay, just a little bit more. And next, with that done, we're going to just mix it all together again. Just allow it to permeate through. And we're going to start to add our spices, starting with the garam masala. Next, we're going to add our haldi, turmeric. Then we'll add our smoked paprika, black pepper, and chili powder. And give this all a nice little mix through. Now try to be better than I am because I got some of my spices stuck on the side, but I'll slowly try to take it off. But just nicely mixing it through as best as possible. There's a lot of vegetables in there now. Okay, and there goes our cinnamon and nutmeg. Just mixing it all in as best as possible. Okay, and now that it's all nicely mixed in, we're just going to kind of even it all out. And we're going to cover it and change it to the pressure cook, and we're going to cook it down for 9 minutes on high pressure next. So I'm just going to bring over the lids and I talk with my hand a lot, I know. So we're bringing over the Instant Pot lid, just canceled it, and we're going to switch it over to the pressure cook and set it for 9 minutes. Okay. Pressure cook. So we're going to leave it as is and check back in just a little bit.
So we've got 6 minutes to go. It's cooking pretty nicely. Can't wait. So we'll check back in about another 6 minutes to see how the soup looks. So exciting!
Alright, so here you can see that the cooking process is completely done at this point in time. Now if you're in a rush, you can completely release the pressure cook at this point in time. I prefer to leave it for a minimum of 5 to 10 minutes to allow it to naturally release the pressure. So I'm going to give it about 10 minutes and then check back on it afterwards.
Alright, so it's been 10 minutes. I did a natural release and now we're going to open it up. Ooh, look at that. I wish you guys could, honestly, just smell this. It's beautiful. Just a beauty. Just gonna... Everything is just all nice and soft. Flavor is amazing. It's really good. So, here comes the fun part. before we add our salt, I'm gonna do a blend down of the vegetables. So be careful, it's hot. I like my immersion blender. You can also take it out and do it in a blender, but I find it's a little bit harder because you have to make sure with the heat and everything that it's not going to cause any splatters and splashes, which can be really, really uncomfortable considering how hot this is. So let's get started. Again, be careful. I like mine on high. I like it to be as fine as possible. The smoother it is, the silkier the flavors come out. Now, just to kind of make sure it's all good, a little bit on the low. Done. There you have it. So, our soup is done. Now, if you want to keep it as a vegan option, you can totally do so just as is, serve it. It tastes really good. I personally like to have a bit of cream in it. The whipping cream just adds the little bit of fat that's needed to kind of bring all those flavors together. So what we're gonna do is bring it up to the saute again on the Instant Pot. And I'm going to add my cup of cream. Now keep a little bit of cream for your serving later when you're presenting it at dinner or lunch, whenever. But definitely that 1 cup of cream is just going to bring all of the flavors and just really help to make it that much more yummy. So we're gonna let it come to a boil. The boil just, again, really helps to just redefine the flavors, just make sure everything is nicely combined again. Cooks that whipping cream in really nicely so you can start to see that it's starting to boil. What I'm going to do in the meantime is also give it a little bit of a taste test before I put my salt in. Garam masala, so good. Cinnamon, so good. But definitely, we've got to bring that salt in now. So I'm going to freehand it a bit because I know exactly how much salt I like to have. Usually it turns out to be between about 2 to 2.5 teaspoons of salt. Part, gotta give it a taste. Just a little bit more left. Perfect. Again, this is the perfect point for you to readjust your flavors if you want to add it a little bit more of a kick, so add some more chili powder, or if you want to give it a bit more warmth, you can add a touch more of your cinnamon or your garam masala. But this is pretty much it. So the soup is now done. There's been a boil that it's come to, and we're going to plate it on the other side. So I'm just going to cancel the saute, and then we're going to take this over and plate our soup. All right, so our soup is done. Here comes the fun part, plating. So Get a nice big bowl because you'll want a lot of it. Fill it up nicely. There we go. Awesome. Okay, and adding the whipping cream for your finishing touches. What a beauty. And there you have it. Our butternut squash soup is done. And Mama MB makes a beautiful focaccia bread, which will be like perfect for lunchtime servings today. Another suggestion would be to make a nice grilled cheese sandwich. Goes really well, especially if you add some heat to your sandwich. And other than that, this is a beauty. It's a definite winner. Give it a try in your kitchen and let me know how it works. Right, I am off to enjoy my soup. And I hope you guys have a wonderful start to your new year. And we will be back soon with another episode. Cheers.